Bondi, and I'm answering some of your questions about our forearm stand with the block, how we progress from using the blocks to not using the blocks. And this question was sent to me by Norma Jean. Hi Norma, this is for you. And we're going to first do a little tutorial or a little review of what it is to get up with the blocks, one with the assist. So I always like to have somebody at home with me when I'm working on these balances so that I can get assistance, and if I get stuck up there, somebody can help me down. So first things first, you'll need 3 blocks. I have 3 thick blocks. I prefer those. So the thick block, 1 is going to go lengthwise on the floor, and 2 are going to stack widthwise on top. And what you want to make sure is that the bottom block is far enough away from the wall that it lines up with the front edge of the top block. So that you'll notice there's space between the wall and the block, but the top blocks are flush with the wall. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the blocks are flush, and I'm going to set up for my forearm balance. So there's no weight on my head. The top of your head may be grazing the floor, but there's actually no weight on my head. So all of the weight is in my shoulder girdle. So to prepare for this, I come into the stance as though I were doing downward facing dog, so that the outer shoulder lines up with the inner rest when I come down. Then I come down onto my forearms, and you'll notice I'm walking my hands in slightly, but my elbow is still underneath my shoulder, and I wrap my hands around the block. I take the base of my head down so that the block is pressing on the back of my head, but there's no real weight on my head. So now I'll push into my forearms, and I know you can't see it, but my head isn't touching the floor, and my upper back is highly supported. Now I'm going to lift one leg up, keeping my extended leg with a nice inner spiral, and now my partner in crime, my husband's going to come in, and he's going to do the assist. And for people with bigger bodies, the assist has to be a little bit different to support the weight. So you'll notice that he's got his back leg back, almost in a warrior 1 stance, and he's bending through that front knee. I'm resting my foot on his shoulder, and then he's going to walk in, and I'm going to lift up so that it's really supported and the minimal amount of effort for him to help me up. So now you'll see, I move my head a little bit, that there's no weight on my head. I'm pushing down through my forearms, and I'm pulling the block back into my block for support, and then I can take my feet away from the wall and squeeze my knees together and get balanced. So the key is to hug the center, so you're squeezing your legs together. When I'm ready to come down, I can come down a myriad of ways. I can take my feet to the wall and then lower myself down slowly if I want, or if I'm comfortable, I can just take my knees into the wall. So that's the first part. Strategy number 1 for getting upside down. Strategy number 2, for those of you who are ready to move away from the blocks, you can set your blocks aside. Again, I highly recommend somebody's home with you, is a headless headstand. So this is your transition from blocks to no blocks, and I'm going to do it with an assist. So you're going to come down onto your forearms, making sure that your elbow and your shoulder line up. I'm now going to lace my fingertips together and bring the heels of my hands together. My head is not going to rest on the floor. Pushing into my forearms, lengthening the sides of my waist, squeezing between my shoulder blades, I'm going to come into a dolphin pose. And from here, I'm going to walk my feet in, and then Alan's going to come and help me. One leg lift up, big inner spiral of the thigh. I'm going to rest my foot on his shoulder, and then I'm going to come up again. And I'm pushing down through my forearms, and then when I get there, I'm ready. And again, I can play with squeezing the knees together, taking my feet against the wall, and you'll notice I'm moving my head. This is all in my shoulder girdle. Pull your belly in nice and tight, and then you can kind of play with getting a little bit of hang time. And then when I come down, knee into the chest, and come down. That's option number 2 with the assist. Option number 3 is the kick up. You can kick up into this particular pose because there's no weight on your head. When you're doing poses like headstand, do not kick up. When you're doing poses like headstand, do not kick up. If your abs aren't strong enough to pull you in, always get an assist and start working on trying to lift your knees in to your chest before you come up. So the third way, same thing, lace your fingertips together, elbows underneath the shoulders, side waist long, squeeze the shoulder blades together, push into the floor, and then it's a hop and a lift. Woo. Let's do it again, hop and a lift. And you come up and you'll see my head isn't touching the floor, and I'm working towards forearm stand. Okay, tips and strategies for progressing with blocks, without blocks. So if you have any more questions at all, I'd love to answer questions. You can find me on Diane Bondi Yoga on Facebook. Please post your questions and we'll be happy to answer them with video and through our Facebook page. Hope you're having a great day. Namaste.